It's that time of the year again where we are about to start decorating, getting ready for different festive occasions, and celebrating. As we're preparing our favorite cakes, pies, waffles, and all the things we do over the holiday season, we want to do it wisely. I would like to welcome you to my series that I'm having, and it's called Living Wisely during the holiday season. So, friend, if you're wondering where you are, just in case you stumbled in, you have joined me on Life and Faith Chats. And today it is a life chat. And of course, if it's a life chat, I have a very special guest. So listen to me for a few minutes while I read something about my guest. Many people dream of what they want to be. I determine what I want to be and passionately pursue it. As such, over the years, I have owned and managed a group of diverse businesses, including comprehensive financial planning operations, college funding organizations, and a real estate investors company. At this stage in my life, I have decided to focus on food entrepreneurship with emphasis on the health-conscious consumer market. Friends, we have a very accomplished guest today, and she's going to be sharing some information with us. Please help me welcome to Life and Faith Chats, Mrs. Caroline Igbelu. Caroline, welcome.
Wow. That is the best introduction I've ever had about myself. Thank you so much. I feel like you are reading about somebody else. I'm thinking, who is that?
I was reading about you. Welcome.
Joy, thank you. I respect you so much. You do everything with passion. You are such an inspiration. And the listeners, you are fortunate to know this woman, and she takes so much time to do everything she does, and I am always encouraged. Thank you for bringing me in. Just what do you want to know? Which part of me do you want to know?
There's a lot, and she has been such an inspiration to me, friends. Today, Caroline, I want us, because everything I said about her is true. She has so much wisdom and experience. She has started, and she hasn't just started. She has an entire company. And right behind, you can see her, is Health Enhanced Foods. And I would like for her to talk to us about it and tell us why. Because the connection to us is, why should we get this product? How can we get it? How can it help us? And again, how will it help us walk in the purpose that God best has for us? So could you please tell us about your flour blends? Why did you start it? How do you do it? And I'm going to be asking you what makes it better than other flour blends. Please educate and inform us so that we know what to get when we go to the store.
Well, you know how much I love to talk about flours and baking. I have been grinding and baking for over 30 years. In my 38 years of marriage, I would say I've been grinding for the past 35 years. And Health Enhanced Foods, it's such a passionate business. I've tried many things, but this one has been the most challenging, but yet the most fulfilling. You see, I like the why, because if you don't have a why, you cannot sustain yourself in anything. And so you always have to go back to why you do things. For me, Health Enhanced Foods became a business, but the whole idea came because I was desperate. Okay. I married my husband young, and when we got married, for some reason, he got sick. And as a young wife, there was nothing I could do. So all I did was try to figure out how to use my kitchen to bring healing to his body. And so every time something happens, I go there, mix something, whether it's mixing for fufu, mixing to have as oatmeal or something, baking, grinding, swallowing. I needed to do something. And that was how I started the process of baking stuff, blending stuff. That was actually how it started. Now, the business side started when I moved to New Jersey. I've lived in different places as a professor's wife, moving around, but New Jersey seemed to be the perfect place to grow a health conscious business, because the people around here are more health conscious, for example, than people in Louisiana where we moved to. So this is something I do every day. Every time I move, I bake something. That's how I make friends. Baking has given me more friends, more favor, but it's a business now for me. That's how I got started.
Okay. When you talk about that, what kinds of flours have you come up with? You know, when we're talking right now, I'm thinking about, do you have flours, specific flours? You talked about starting it because of your husband's health challenge. So could you tell us about those types of flours? And then,
one thing great about being educated is the ability to read, to research, to study, and try out what you learn. And so I realized that in reading, let me say, many people wonder how you come about how you know what you're doing. Well, I have a bachelor's degree in agricultural economics and farm management from Penn State. I have an MBA from Penn State. So I have worked, and of course I worked for Penn State for 5 years. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because, naturally I know grains from my education. I know farm produce. It just comes natural to me. But what I found out that I could do that many people don't see it so easily is how to bring things together to make food. So we know that your health, what you eat affects how your health is. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, we forget that we do get old. We have issues. Some of us have different health challenges. In fact, all of us have different health challenges. Some are known, some are unknown. Mm-hmm. Many of us try to get well. We're trying to be perfect, go to where we used to be when we were teenagers. Unfortunately, life does not always give us that opportunity. So if you are diabetic and you're dreaming to get to where you are not diabetic anymore, you're going to be living a miserable life. Why don't you figure out how to feed what you respect your health and give it what it needs so you can enjoy life, even in your present condition. If you're on dialysis, why worry about what you can't eat because you're on dialysis? Find what you can eat and enjoy life today instead of waiting to when you are perfectly well. So our whole purpose for our business is to blend flours for a purpose so that people who have different dietary needs can continue to enjoy what they love, but in a form that their body will tolerate that. Now, if you study health issues and diet, you realize that many different diets are suitable for different health issues. That is true. So let's say if you're on dialysis, you have chronic kidney disease, you cannot process potassium, minerals in your food, which means every food that they think is good for us is poison for you. So what are you going to do? Go back and just sit there and die and cry because you have that? No, you find food that does not have what you need so you can continue to eat. So we cater to people like that. We create flour that has no minerals but have vitamins so that they can continue to enjoy bread, pancake, pizza. If you are a diabetic, if you are living with diabetes, for some, it might be type 2 diabetes. For others, it might be type 1 diabetes. Somebody with type 1 diabetes, usually they are young people. They have no way, their body is not processing, working the way it should be. And if they are 6 years old, they will never be normal like most normal people. So how are you going to feed her? If you have type 2, for some of us, it might be because we gain too much weight, we want to lose weight, and maybe it will go away. So these people, you're going to have to eat differently to support your body. If you want to lose weight, for many people, it's temporary diet loss. You don't want to starve. You want low carb. So many people are doing vegetable, and then one time, poof, they give up. They just eat whatever and they go back to their weight. But what we do, we create flour blends that will help, because for somebody, for example, who is living with diabetes, the primary goal is to minimize blood sugar fluctuations. So when you eat, you don't want your sugar level to go up and down. So we create flour products with blends, not just flour. We add seeds, we add herbs, we add fiber, we have everything in our natural, wholesome flour is intended to help your body accept it naturally. That's how we work. And then, so you want low carb, we have flours that are low carb. If you want complex carb, we have flours that are complex carb. But what we don't have is over processed, except for the people on dialysis. Everything we have is natural. We use nature. If we use herb, it's everything there. And we blend for a purpose. And that's what also sets us apart. Because you can get our product and it's mixed, it's blended already. You just add the optionals, the sugar, which is for sweetener, it means different things to different people.
That's brilliant. That's just brilliant. When you say that, I will repeat what you said so that I can process and my friends can process. So you're saying that someone who is pre-diabetic or is living with diabetes, or someone who has kidney disease or a health challenge, they still can eat in a healthy way, because we're not saying eat anything, but they can eat in a healthy way and eat some of the foods that they're accustomed to by just using these blends. For example, pancakes. I don't know anyone, well, maybe because I do, who don't like pancakes or waffles or wanted to some homemade bread that might want to, rather than just looking at it and saying, this is something I can never have, or if I have it, my health is going to suffer. They could substitute wisely by using flour blends from health enhanced foods.
Correct.
Provided.
Exactly.
That's
yeah, we have, yeah, there are different categories of needs. You have people, there are so many diseases and health issues people have, but many of them, for example, it's people that have brain health issues. You have some people who have seizure issues, ADD, or whatever. Studies have shown that high fat diet is better for many of them. Especially there are some people with seizures that don't respond to traditional medicines, but they respond to good high fat diet. Now, you can't just go eating pork because it's going to ruin you. Mm-hmm. So what we have a high, low carb flour that you can use to create a high fat diet, but it's food. You can make pancake, you can make muffins, you make your bread. And so for a parent, the fact that you can give your child something almost normal is such a relief. Mm-hmm. So again, we have blends for people like that. We blend for a purpose. Health enhanced foods is there so that everybody can find something to eat.
Okay. And friends, I have tried. I've had her cinnamon rolls, which were absolutely delicious. I've actually made bread with your spelt flour. Wow. That was my first time making bread from scratch, because you had it so simple. Everything was blended and I just had to follow the directions, and I really enjoyed it. I said the spelt flour. Let me zoom in on that. Could you tell me about the spelt flour mix, the spelt flour blend?
Okay, thank you so much. My first love is bread baking. I have been baking bread from scratch. In those days I ground my own flours from scratch. I buy grains and I blend them and then I make whatever. I still do it today. I used to think everybody did that. I have not purchased bread from the store for over 30 years. And that's because it's so easy to make bread. Spelt bread is my favorite because first, spelt for many people who are not gluten sensitive, who are not celiac or are not on gluten-free diet, because spelt is a wheat, a family of wheat, but it's an ancient flour. It's an ancient grain that is still maintains its original natural state and its traits. So unlike wheat, there are so many versions of wheat that it's more hybridized than spelt. So spelt is still very old-fashioned. So most people love it because they don't react to it like they react to wheat. And so it's a very good alternative. Now, I love spelt because first, the way I have it, we have it, we mix with seeds and all that. We just, our spelt bread makes great pizza. It makes bread. And what we've done is try to make it easier for anybody to be able to bake. All you need is water and yeast. And so the spelt gives you that crunchy taste, and it's very low in sugar. The sugar we put is just enough for the yeast to eat it up. So it comes out very natural. And it's one of my best sellers, to be honest with you, because I think people identify, they don't have that reaction. First, because it's 100% spelt. There is no additives. It's wholesome and it's in original form. So that's why people love it.
Okay. Wow. I'm going to show you something that I have. I don't want her to talk about it because I'm going to access something else. For our African friends, we know about fufu. I am not a big fufu eater. I'm not, never have been. But she even has a mix for that, so that you're eating healthily. I know we came up with plantain fufu and different types. But she came up with something, and I have it, and I just think it's amazing to see the things that are in it. And by the way, it tastes very good. Okay, so I want to show you this.
Oh, okay, that is so cool.
And in it, it has 100% wholesome, rich in manganese, good source of iron, plant protein, dietary fiber. And it's just amazing. And this also is milled with buckwheat, wheat germ, and flax seeds. So can you use this to make something else besides?
Oh yes, I have. My customers, we go to farmers market here, and people bring back, in farmers market, people actually bring back what they do, and people bring me pumpkin bread made with superior fufu flour, cakes made with superior fufu flour. I mean, people have made more out of that flour than I can imagine. So, but that was my original product. Really? Buckwheat, by the way, is not wheat. It's completely gluten-free. It's actually the best gluten-free flour in North America. I still don't know why it's not a household name, because people think because it has buckwheat that it's wheat. It is not. But what we have done is to allow us, many Africans, like my husband, they don't eat bread per se. Bread is not our staple food. We like swallow. So we swallow gari, eba, pounded yam, this one plantain and all that stuff. That's what we do. So again, within our principle, we want to give people what they love with the nutrition they need. Now, we know that many of the fufu flours out there are highly adulterated. They are not what we ate in our continent. If you look at the ingredients, many of them are overly processed byproducts of wheat or byproducts of potato. Read your ingredients. And for those who have who are diabetic or sensitive to carbohydrate, many of the carbohydrates in the food are just so processed. They are not complex carbs. And so most people eat that and their diabetes go up. In fact, many of us, we eat it takes about 10 years of eating that to realize that you should watch what you're eating. It takes about that long. So Superior Fufu, and we have another one called Premium Fufu. Superior Fufu was made with buckwheat, flaxseed, wheat germ, and we put extra fiber in there. But you make it the same way you make your fufu flour. So it looks the same, it tastes the same, but it gives you more. When you're eating flax seeds as fufu, that is a plus. That is a plus. And so many people notice that they don't go to sleep. That's a good test. After you eat it, you go to sleep? If you go to sleep after you eat, you have the wrong food. It's over-processed. So when you have our stuff, it sustains your energy. And so that's why we make that, to give people that option to still enjoy the fufu. So you can have that for breakfast, go to work, and it will sustain your energy all day. You'll be drinking water because it's high in fiber, high in protein, and it does not fluctuate your blood sugar. And for those that have stubborn diabetes, we have other products that we can add to it so that you can still enjoy your fufu, to reduce more the carbohydrate content. So I feel very good about that. That's probably about the best thing I've ever done. We have it just the way it should be. And right now in Nigeria, they sell it in pharmacy because the only people who are, the doctors use them and they give to people who are sick, and they realize that they feel better than when they eat gari. Cassava is great, but cassava has very little nourishment naturally. And so when you eat, whether it's gari or eba, even the yam, they are very high on the glycemic index. That means it just shoots your blood sugar up and down. Plantain is great. Plantain flour is wonderful, great one. But most of the plantain fufu flour we have is not 100% plantain. Even when it's plantain flour, we still have it at glycemic index of 55, which is still in the middle. So many people eat it, but we want something lower. And so what we have done is buckwheat is about the same thing as the plantain flour, but when we add all the other ingredients, it reduces the glycemic index level of the flour. So basically, we're trying to create a complex carb that will allow our body to function more naturally and much better. And that's, sorry, I'm going too technical on this, but really,
you're explaining it where I can understand it. So
and by the time we realize 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, your sugar is going up, your high blood pressure is going up, all of a sudden you're sitting there and your doctor said, you're going to do something about yourself. And that's why we have to change. But we want to make that change. It's not too late. And my company, actually, our goal is to help you to make that change, because you have to take care of yourself. You have to be mindful of what you eat. We have no choice.
Okay, friends, so you have to come back for part 2 to hear what makes flour unbleached. We have the bleached flour and the unbleached. You're about to hear the best explanation from an expert who has been in the field grinding and making her own flour blends. Come back so we can find out what's in the flour that we've been buying, trusting, eating, and putting in our foods. Next week, Caroline shares even more detailed and helpful information, and there are multiple giveaways. See you soon. See you next Friday.